what happened was 2 years ago I had an injury wake surfing where I landed on the back of on the swim board in the back of my boat, and it caused a spinal shock. My choice was that stem cells is the only possibility for me to have some kind of relief. I spoke directly with a doctor, which spent probably 45 minutes with me on the phone, and the care is very, very good. I mean, they're coming to me after they give my first injections of stem cells. They came to my room at like 10 o'clock at night just to double check, to do a blood test. I think I have a pretty good perspective of medical treatment throughout Europe, and I find the treatment here some of the best that I've been. Very, very attentive. So I've been very, very happy with Swiss Medic here.
Hello, can you tell us your name, where are you from, and why you came to Swiss Medica?
Hi, my name is Philip Roth. I presently live in Sofia, Bulgaria, and the reason I came here was because I suffered a spinal shock injury 2 years ago, and I've been trying to recover from it, and I decided that stem cell injection was probably my best choice.
When were you diagnosed, and how has it affected your daily life?
What happened was 2 years ago I had an injury wake surfing where I landed on the back of on the swim board in the back of my boat, and it caused a spinal shock. I didn't know it at the immediate time, but 2 days later I began to suffer numbness through all my legs and lower body and my feet and my left hand. And at that point I was in Greece at that time because we were doing a production down there, and they ended up going to a hospital in Athens. They pumped me full of cortisone. After that I went back to my home in Sofia. Sometime later I had a surgery to try to relieve the pressure of where I had stenosis in my back from the spinal shock. From that I had a CTF leak. I had another operation in Germany, where they put 10 pins in my back to stabilize my back, and they sealed the spinal leak. I went on trying to do a number of therapies over the following year, from electrical therapy, massage, laser therapy, you name it, I tried it. And then I ended up actually having a third surgery, which happened this last October, where they relieved pressure in my very lumbar part of my body, where they found 2 stenoses again from the spinal shock. They relieved those. But the results were kind of the same. I'm still suffering from kind of extreme numbness in my legs and glute. And that's when I began to seriously research stem cell. And at that time, I looked at, I think some people, their choice may be geographically where they live and where they would go to do stem cells. I live in Sofia, Bulgaria. I have a home there, but I also have a home in Los Angeles. So I had a choice between the Swiss Medic and I also looked at the Stem Cell Institute in Panama City. After doing quite a bit of research and looking at both and reading about both, I thought Swiss Medic was a better fit for me. They interacted with me better when I contacted them. They put me on I spoke directly with a doctor, which spent probably 45 minutes with me on the phone, going over, asking me a lot of very pertinent questions about my injury, all about my surgeries, what had happened. And they were very honest and frank about it, saying, there's no guarantee that anything's going to work, but they took an approach that they said we're going to figure out a process for you when you come that hopefully will work.
Okay, you answered a lot of questions. Okay, so tell me, out of all that what you tried, therapies and everything, did you see any improvements with?
I've seen no improvements. The numbness has persisted exactly the same. If anything, I manage it by taking a lot of vitamin B, which helps reduce the numbness. But that's the only thing it does. Nothing that I've done up to this point has actually reduced the numbness or or I feel that it's getting better. It's kind of settled into my life. But that being said, I'm very much a sports guy. I up to a few years ago, I still skied, raced competitively. I spend my summers. I have a house on the lake, Escalated Lake in Bulgaria, and I have a sports boat there, and I wake surf all the time where the injury occurred. So the one thing I didn't want to lose is I went back to those. I had to relearn to surf again, and the last 2 years I've had to relearn how to ski again because my balance is completely off. But I've been able to do it to a certain level, but I'm still suffering from this extreme numbness in my legs, and I wake up every morning and my glutes are numb, my feet are numb. So my choice was that stem cells is the only possibility for me to have some kind of relief. And after doing a lot of research between various institutes, obviously this one and the Stem Cell Institute, I chose to come here to Swiss Medica. And my interaction here has been very good. The doctors here are very attentive from the very beginning. They all seem to be. Then they're all asking a lot of questions, and the care is very, very good. I mean, they're coming to me after they give my first injections of stem cells. They came to my room at like 10 o'clock at night just to double check, to do a blood test, a blood pressure test on me to make sure that there was no problem with the injections, and they've been a lot of follow up with it. So I've been very, very happy with how the prescription and how the treatment is here. I think it is very unique. It's great. Because I've obviously over the last 2 years, I've gone through 3 major surgeries in Munich, in a number of hospitals in Bulgaria, also a surgery in Italy. So I think I have a pretty good perspective of medical treatment throughout Europe, and I find the treatment here some of the best that I've been. Very, very attentive. So I've been very, very happy with Swiss Medica here.
I'm glad to hear that. Tell me, maybe, have you noticed any improvements since getting the stem cells?
I can't at this juncture. I can't. Yeah. It's really tough to tell. And I also I want you to know that they were very upfront with me. When you have nerve damage is something that's very hard to overcome. So I didn't come here with the expectations that I would be cured instantly. I came here with the expectations that I hope that they could reduce the numbness. by some degree. But it's going to take months. So, and I think you have to be, when you're doing stem cells, you have to come with the idea you need to be patient, because stem cells are, from my understanding, stem cells, once they're injected into you, they take time and begin to work on whatever the damage that you're having, whether it's muscular or nerve. Now, that was the other thing, is they actually tailored the stem cells they were pulling from me. Originally they were going to pull it from stomach fat to create my stem cells. They immediately said, no, we're going to pull from bone marrow from me, because that's those stem cells are better for nerve damage. So I'd never heard from in either one of the institutes I talked to. So I was very happy that they were, paying attention to actually what the issues were.
Better. Yeah. Okay. Glad to hear that. Tell me, let's say, the last question. What would you say to someone who is having same issue as you? What do you have any advice for him, or should he try stem cells? Or
my advice to them is if you suffered the same injury I did, is number one, is you will possibly find out that surgeries are not the solution. It's quite unfortunate, but after having 3 major surgeries, I had got no real improvement in the numbness. So I would say, don't think of surgery as your solution. That was maybe my mistake. I should have immediately if I'd known what I know now, I would have immediately looked into stem cell injection right from the very, very beginning. That's, what I would advise. The results of stem cells, I will probably know in 2 to 3 months or maybe longer. But if I get any kind of reduction in the numbness, I've reached a point, you reach a point in your life where in my situation, you learn to live with your injury. At my age, it's like, okay, I've got to learn to live with this if I want to keep active in sports. And I immediately went back. I started, I had to start training twice as hard every day to loosen up and stuff, but that's what I do. And now I'm just hoping that there's going to be results in the stem cells. But we should, it's wait to be seen. I mean, it's a new technology, so
yeah.
I'll find out.
So do you have any long-term expectation, like only numbness or like only numbness?
Well, I mean, listen, stem cells can be a life-altering treatment. So even though the numbness, the numbness is what I suffer from, which I wake up every day with. But also I suffer from a lot of, pains and injuries. I'm from being an active sports guy, and at my age, I'm over 60. I have a lot of sports injuries. I was national level skier when I was, a kid, and raced in the United States and then throughout, and then later on in Europe. And then when I moved to Europe. This is 25 years ago. I decided to start racing competitively again. So I got my license, my FIS license back, and I started racing with the national teams. But because I was the only American racing in Eastern Europe, I did. So I have, always, pushed myself in sports and stuff. So I'm hoping, and I believe that the stem cell surgery will also help me recover from a lot of injuries. I have knee injuries, I have various leg injuries that I've suffered over the years and such like that. And that I feel whether or not it completely cures or partially cures my numbness, I have a feeling that it's going to help me recover from some of the injuries that I suffered over the last 50 years of being an active sports guy.
Hope to see big improvements.
So do I.
Thank you very much.